Intimidation of Christians, huh? Only people intimidating me are fucking people claiming to be. Right. Awesome. Yeah.
Chevy Equinox, that's right there.
Mm-hmm.
Just a quick estimate. What would you charge me to change that front windshield?
I don't know.
Oh, so you guys don't do the...
I don't do estimates, no.
Oh, I got you.
But the number on our truck, you can give them a call and they'll give you the quote. It's not.
You're supporting violence. I'm gonna call argument with police. If you want. It's not very, very wrong. I think this is okay.
Fuck. Where are my sunglasses? Yeah, but it didn't. Whew. Here, I thought it was 10. 3210. So far, no issues yet.
I just came back out.
No worries, I'm just about to cut it out. you in the Air Force?
Nah. I'm just pilot. But I like that too. Met the pilot of the demo team.
You're a pilot?
Yeah.
What do you fly?
Right now I train and I teach people out of Vero Beach. I fly twin engines and teach both.
What? Save your phone number.
You want to get into flying?
Say again?
Is flying something you want to get into?
It's something I've always wanted to do.
Really?
Yeah.
Man. You should get into. You should look into it, bro. Take a discovery flight.
Very expensive.
Yeah. I'll be straight up about that. It's not.
It's very expensive. Actually, I really want to get my kids into it too.
Yeah. It's never too late, though.
Well, they're 6 and 7.
My students and coworkers. I'm a firefighter. I have like doctors who work in like the
Uncle, lawyer. Helicopter training school out of Boca. And he invented this, chopper mounted Steadicam.
yeah.
And that's what he used to do. Everyone in Palm Beach County, he was the news camera
Oh,
for
nice.
like the traffic and all that.
Yeah.
Stuff. And then somebody pirated it, and he ended up. That was the whole point. The whole reason my uncle was his attorney. He was trying to get his product back. And by the time they were able to make any headway, the genie was out of the bottle. It was,
Okay.
everybody had they'd already been outfitted with their own aircraft, with their own cameras.
Oh, yeah.
So it was like, oh, shit. It wasn't the Navy. He found his process.
Yeah, that's actually right. That's our single engine P8 Hyper.
Renton?
Yeah. So it's all the airplanes. And yeah, I teach both single and twin engine and instrument. So
Have you seen those? I don't know what it is. It's a single engine. It's really pretty. It's all that streamlined blue and silver plane. I wish I could tell you what it was. Apparently, in order to fly it, you have to have a navigate or a what the hell do they call it? Instruments only license?
instrument rating?
Instrument rating?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's.
I wonder. I'll probably look it up. A lot of people like the PC-12. I think that's what you're talking about, maybe.
It might be. It just looks cool. Anyways, apparently there's a the Stewart Airport.
Something like this.
No, it's similar, but not, but like a 4-seater, 5-seater. And we're out. Ooh. Sun pass.
That's not here I need.
I'll take care of it.
Nah. Yeah, that might be from like
Cool.
his old stuff. I don't need that.
I don't know where.
This is so weird seeing my car like this.
It's even weirder driving it like that. I don't remember the reason, but we had a vehicle brought over to a body shop years ago when I worked in West Palm. And my boss calls me out of the shop. I was working in the shop at the time. He calls me out of the shop. He's like, John, I need somebody to drive a car with no windshield. And I ride a motorcycle every day, so okay, I guess I'm the logical choice. It was brutal. I had all the windows. It wasn't an Explorer, but it was about that size. And man, I'm driving this thing. I got all the windows open, and it's just, when you're on a motorcycle, you're just cutting through. You're in the wind, shit's hitting you and all that. But this was like a funnel, just funneling off. I only went like.
But still, honestly, man. Yeah, man. If you want, you can take that. Right, but to me, it was on that. You know, that's how, you know. I told myself everything, and actually, something I actually want to do. Like I can make it happen.
What do you do for work? Do you just?
I teach. So I have students, and I teach them how to get. I get them their private pilot's license. Well, right now I'm mainly teaching my students are getting a commercial instrument rating and their multi-engine license. That's my specialty. Okay. I can teach it all. I could teach. Yeah, I teach you guys how to fly. So teach you guys how to fly the airplane. You know, do the groundwork, do all that.
Yeah, they I don't remember, but they're like, yeah, you if you bought a plane, we could lease it from you, and then they take care of all the maintenance and everything. This flight school, not that that's the route I would want to go, but it was. I'm like, well, I mean, if I could pay for my airplane by renting it out, you know, they're gonna do everything. Getting the license.
Yeah, but you gotta buy an airplane. It was like,
and who's
honestly, like, if you want to, at least, you know, be completely transparent. I did that cost me about. Because I was paying out of pocket.
Yeah.
I said, screw that. I want to get it done fast. I need to get like all my license fast.
Right.
So then I went to ATP, an accelerated flight school. And in 8 months.
Tallahassee?
Yeah. Okay. No, I did this in Orlando.
Okay.
It was a $100K loan I took out. But within 8 months, I got my instrument rating, commercial pilot license, CFI, my instructor license, my instructor multi and instrument license. I got all 7. Yes. So then now that sets me up to work. So hey, you know.
So if I were to go in anyway, what would I do for it? Just because it's a lot of money to not have a paper.
Well, some students, although it's not really like advised, because flight training is demanding. Like
what would you do for it?
Oh, like after you
okay.
And then after you do that, you get or like the school I work.
Okay.
Design stuff, so like you get your hours by teaching others.
Really? Because you need five, but then you need a certain number of hours to do other things, and so you get those hours by teaching other people.
Yes, like you need 1,500 to apply for the airline.
Oh, okay.
Usually end flight school with about 250.
Okay.
So the other 1,250, you can top it. Now, most of the time, they don't care how you get it. Well,
You know what I mean?
market talking, but
Right.
they don't care how you get the 1,250, but
As long as you're there.
So you get like me now, where I get paid. I don't pay. I get paid. So, like, I know some instructors who don't get there faster. They rent. You know, you get extra money for that.
They rent out.
Fly, they like go to the cabin and someone rents it out. And yeah. So, or you can do a survey. Where he like flies around and takes pictures.
Yeah.
In the air.
That's. Yeah, I was. Got his. One of those like old stories. Months and he comes in. It's like that. He knocks. What the hell are you? So he gets. And then. And air traffic control. So that's what he did for the Navy. He worked at Mayport for 8 years doing air traffic. And then so because he did that, he got his pilot's license and he's like, yeah, dude, we'll just like hop in a plane and fly to Tallahassee for dinner and then we fly back. And I'm like, dude, that's crazy.
Like I take my students to the Keys a lot. A couple days ago, I flew to Tallahassee and back.
How long did that take you?
To get a tally?
Yeah.
Well, we took the twin engine.
Okay.
So we had a really strong headwind actually. It was
okay.
extremely windy. So we had just 51 knots, roughly about 50 miles per hour hitting us. So that slows us down. 3 hours to get the tally. Because we had to make a fuel.
It was only 3 hours from here?
That's slow. Because I had to make a fuel stop too.
It's 6 hours driving.
Not on the way back from Tally. On the way back from Tally, we had. It took an hour and 20. All because of the wind.
But that makes. I mean, actually, it makes it ridiculous. It's still expensive. Still expensive.
If you'll.
And they like there's most
And FBOs. So FBOs are like, think of like private jet terminals.
Yeah.
Rich people get in planes, stuff in private.
Sure.
That's kind of what it is. Oh, base-to-base operation. Yeah. A lot of them have crew cars. So like, you haven't your license today. It's definitely. I see the S on the bottom.
Is it S on the bottom?
Yeah.
I didn't see it.
Yeah. See. Yeah. That's what.
Would you fly commercial?
Oh yeah. I'm working on my hours right now.
Oh, okay.
Like I say, you need 1,500 to fly for the airlines. I'm at about 12.
Okay.
So I'm almost there. Start sending my applications in and stuff.
I keep hearing people talk about the airlines are paying for flight school. And every time I've looked it up, it's not.
They were. A lot of pilots got hired.
Oh.
So this is. No, it's true. Get lucky and possibly get. That's commonplace anyway. F9.
But it just. It was almost. You're on the hook for license and the hours that we put you through, and which isn't, you know,
Yeah.
Kurdistan and the, I guess, streets there, and the state continues to meet them with absolutely horrific violence. Or or try and identify their loved ones, right? It is unimaginable, the scale of state violence. Gorain had an interview on his Twitter or his X.com, right? That with someone inside Iran, which I'd encourage people to read and which we'll link in the show notes. But like, people continue to be in
John?
the streets there, and the state continues to meet them with absolutely horrific violence. And talking of horrific violence, I want to
Don't know why.
move now to Syria, right? Specifically to Syrian Kurdistan. And
See, now they're going to be stuck here. Do you have the, can I have some more honey roasted barbecue and Chick-fil-A sauce, please? Come on, bud. Thank you, sir. Good luck.
And the, I guess, majority Arab parts of Syria that had previously been part of the autonomous administration of North and East Syria, right? Last week, we talked about fighting in Aleppo. And then we spoke about, like, fighting moving towards Euphrates, right? Fighting has now moved past where it was last week. And it's moving dangerously close to Qamishlo and Hesaka, which are the two biggest Kurdish cities. Hesaka is not just a city where Kurdish people live, right? Arab people, I mean, neither of these are, right? Arab people, Assyrian people, Armenian people, right? Yazidis. The AANES was a multi-ethnic project. Like that's what distinguished the SDF from the YPG and the YPJ, right? That they were multi-ethnic, they weren't just Kurdish. Yeah. The way that this has occurred is that the Syrian transitional government has been able to flip multiple tribal groups who are mostly Arab, who have previously fought alongside the SDF.
Didn't know I could get there.
Yeah, right. Now flipped alongside the Syrian transitional government to leave the SDF with previously units that have been there suddenly flipping, and they have lost huge amounts of territory, to include Raqqa, famously
Former capital of the Islamic State.
yeah, the former capital, where thousands died as a result of IS violence and in the fighting for the city, and as a result, civilians died as a result of coalition bombing. There have been absolutely horrific images of the brutalization of the remains of captured YPG and YPGA fighters, right, men and women. We have seen executions. This is not just that executions are happening. It is that people who are fighting, not necessarily in the Syrian Arab army, but in at least alliance with the Syrian transitional government, have been so comfortable carrying out summary executions that they have decided to film and share them. And so on Monday, Maslum Abdi, right, the general of the Syrian Democratic Forces, traveled to Damascus to attempt to negotiate a peace and was not able to do that. It seems that he was offered some kind of position, but he didn't want the position. There was not also some kind of autonomy backstops for the remaining areas of the AANES, right? And so as a result, there was a general mobilization in the AANES. People from Bakur, so people from northern Kurdistan, have crossed the border. There's a border wall, fence wall, depending on where you're at, in between Turkish Kurdistan and Syrian Kurdistan, right? And at one point people have broken that down, and young people have entered into Syrian Kurdistan to fight to defend the cities that are still part of the AANES. The counter-terrorism group of the PUK has entered Syrian Kurdistan. That's quite surprising, right? Yeah.
Which is the Patriotic Union of Kurdistan.
Yeah.
Which is an Iraqi Kurdish political party, effectively.
Yeah.
That is not aligned.
Oh yeah, they're not lefty, right? Or they're not Democratic and Federalist.
No.
They
I mean,
were at some point, Like,
They are now today basically like an arm of the Kurdish quote-unquote state in northern Iraq, right? They were originally more of an actual political party and did have some socialist elements.
Yeah.
That's not really super relevant to what's going on.
yeah, the ideology is not the same as the ideology that you have seen in Rojava, right?
Yeah.
But like, I have not since Kobani have you seen more unity of Kurdish people regardless of politics, right? Like I saw a statement from, I think you'll see stuff from Barzani, from Talabani, so these are the two major political figures in Iraqi Kurdistan. I've seen Kurdish religious leaders making statements, right? Because people are afraid of an ethnic cleansing, because they have seen the ethnic cleansings of the Druze and the Alawites that have already happened under the STG, right? It's worth noting, I guess, at this point, like, for whatever reason, they have not chosen to remove the name Arab from the country's name, like the Syrian Arab Republic. And I think, like, Syria is a multi-ethnic and very diverse country, and if it is to succeed under any form of administration, it needs to acknowledge that, right? And it's really worrying to see this, like, horrific interethnic violence, and it is being massively accelerated by people in the media, right? To include a lot of, like, people who might be referred to as experts. I don't think that's a reasonable appellation. Like, their expertise is pretty limited, but nonetheless, people who, like, to include journalists, Telegram influencers, and then think tankers in the West. People are sharing things that are either not true or that have not happened in this time. The Telegram videos are actually not taken in Syria this week, right? They're taken in different places and times. And we are careening towards this not becoming a fight between two different administrative projects, but becoming an interethnic conflict, right? I think we're pretty much there at this point, and nobody seems to be looking for an offering.
Yeah.
Which is tragic. Like, I was in Hasaka 2 years ago, and I was conducting interviews there, and I remember there was a little kid whose father had died fighting ISIS, and like, it was dark outside. You know, this was during a time when Turkey was bombing the region quite heavily, and the little kid, I think, had been struggling to sleep because he was sleeping in the middle of the day, and then when he woke up, we were just hanging out with his mother, and I gave the little kid some toys to play with that I brought with me, and like, I can't help but thinking how scared that poor little guy is now. You know, and his dad's not there, right? Because like 12,000 members of the FTF, he died fighting the Islamic State, right? And now another state is coming to put his family, his kid in danger. Like, that's horrific. What people have gone through in Syria already is too much, and like, to see more killing and dying there is heartbreaking for me.
Yeah.
Just very briefly on the immigration update, it appears that Immigration and Customs Enforcement are now under the impression, or they believe that they can enter homes without the consent of the homeowner, so they use force to enter in order to remove someone with a final removal order, so long as they have an administrative warrant. That is a different thing from a judicial warrant, right? This is often what people talk about when they talk about, does ICE have a warrant? They're looking for a judicial warrant, as opposed to a warrant that they have issued themselves, an administrative warrant. And so this will obviously broaden the amount of places that they can enter and times when they end up entering people's homes by force, right? So we will likely be seeing more violence here as well.
Yay!
Yay! I'm going to put a link to a Havasor fundraiser at the bottom of this if you'd like to help people in Kurdistan. There are people who have been displaced 4 times now in the last few years, right, since 2018. So if you'd like to help, you can do that. We'll also include a fundraising link for Minneapolis if you'd like to spend some money closer to home.
Great.
If you'd like to email us, you can do so by emailing coolzonetips@proton.me. If you want the email to be encrypted, you should send it from a Proton address.
Well, we look forward to hearing more from Margaret and James in Minneapolis, and I don't know, I guess that's it.
We reported the news.
Did we? We reported the news?
Yeah, all of it.
That's
How does that feel?
It Could Happen Here is a production of Cool Zone Media. For more podcasts from Cool Zone Media, visit our website, coolzonemedia.com, or check us out on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts. can now find sources for It Could Happen Here listed directly in episode descriptions. Thanks for listening. This is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed human. Micah, am I right that your beat is the business of space?
Yes, it is. It is indeed the business of space.
That's our colleague, Micah Maidenberg.
Get to listen to what I listen to.
Is
now.
there a lot of business in space these days?
Yes, there is. Well, it's a really great question. How to make money in space is there's a few ways to do it, and lots of ideas on how to find more ways to do it.
And in the space business, there's one company that's undeniably the most important. Elon Musk's SpaceX.
They're not just a supplier of a part or software or something like that, but they're building rockets like Falcon 9, Falcon Heavy, and Starship. They're building and deploying and operating satellites for, most notably, their Starlink satellite internet fleet. And, ultimately, the goal for years has been to mount some kind of, human mission to Mars. That's long been, Elon Musk's dream and why he started the company about 20 years ago.
Most people do associate SpaceX primarily with Elon Musk. But on a day-to-day basis, who is in charge?
On a day-to-day basis, Gwen Shotwell is in charge.
We aren't human if we don't go seek out what there is to learn in space. And I think robotic exploration is great as precursor missions, but we need to get out to other planets and certainly out to other stars.
Gwen Shotwell is the longtime president of SpaceX. She's been in that role since 2008. She's very tough, very charismatic, and in the space industry, we'll just talk about Gwen. You know what I mean? She's known by her first name, almost like
Madonna.
she has a certain kind of mystique about her that's built on, what SpaceX has been able to accomplish over the years. But generally, she's sort of more behind the scenes.
This year, Gwen Shotwell is preparing to lead SpaceX through maybe its biggest year yet.
The company is at this really kind of unprecedented moment where they're actively considering going public, raising potentially billions of dollars in an initial public offering, and Gwen, as the longtime number 2 at SpaceX, is it's suddenly kind of emerging into the spotlight a little bit more in the past.
So this is kind of a big moment for her.
It's a very big moment for her and for the company.
Welcome to The Journal, our show about money, business, and power. I'm Jessica Mendoza. It's Thursday, January 22nd. Coming up on the show, the woman behind the success of SpaceX. Shotwell has been at SpaceX since the beginning. She's 62 years old with a background in engineering.
When she was a teenager, her mother dragged her down to an engineering event sponsored by a women's engineering society in Chicago, near where she grew up. And she liked the mechanical engineer on this panel and decided that day to become a mechanical engineer. She later studies engineering.
Actually, I was not a space nerd as a kid. I was a car nerd, so I should probably be working at Tesla. But I kind of fell into this industry. I was looking for a job after my bachelor's degree, and I ran into one of my former professors, and he was working in Los Angeles at the Aerospace Corporation. And so I interviewed and got the job there, but that was my first role in space, actually.
And eventually has this conversation and interview with Elon Musk in 2002 about SpaceX, which back then was a tiny startup with no product, but a lot of hope.
In the early 2000s, there weren't many private companies operating in space. Still, SpaceX had big dreams. CEO Elon Musk's great ambition is to colonize Mars and make humans a multi-planetary species.
I think we should really do our very best to become a multi-planet species and to extend consciousness beyond Earth. And we should do it now. Thank you.
But when Shotwell first joined the company, SpaceX didn't even have a working rocket.
So her first job at SpaceX was as Vice President of Business Development. And that's a big title to basically say she was doing sales.
I was selling the team. I was selling the ideal. I was selling the promise and the hope of reasonably priced launch.
She was the one and beating down doors at NASA, elsewhere in the government, saying like, hey, we're building a rocket. We think we can launch your satellites, take you to orbit, do it at a cheaper price than alternatives that are out there. In the early days, she was sort of a face with customers, trying to kind of say, believe in us. Even though we don't have a rocket, like we're going to, and it's going to be great.
For years, Shotwell built out relationships for SpaceX, while the company's engineering teams experimented with rockets. All that work led to a pivotal moment in 2008.
3, 2, 1, 0.
When the company launched its first successful rocket, the Falcon 1. Here's Shotwell at an event talking about that launch.
Thank goodness. So, it's a life or death moment for the company, right?
I was a little more dramatic about that launch than I am, actually. I figured we could pull a fifth launch off, but that was it. That same year, Shotwell was promoted to president of the company, and it led to more business for SpaceX.
In 2008, SpaceX lands this cargo contract with NASA to transport cargo to the International Space Station. It's a $1.6 billion contract, and it really helped stabilize the company and give them runway to kind of keep going on their quest to sort of do, big things in orbit.
How important was that contract for SpaceX, and also for Shotwell?
So at that point, SpaceX is a few years old. They're landing this big government contract. They have a path forward on their rockets, and they're becoming more credible, right? Becoming more of a part of the space landscape. And Shotwell is there sort of guiding them through that. And that's a big reason why she got the nod to get promoted.
As she rose up at SpaceX, Shotwell worked closely with Elon Musk. Here she is talking about her working relationship with Musk in 2016. I also have learned that he's rarely wrong. Even if that's super irritating and it feels not right when you first hear what he wants to go achieve. And so if it doesn't sound like what you think we should be doing, I always stop and think, okay, we've been through this before. Think hard about what he's saying, what he's trying to achieve, and figure out how to make it work. Talk to me about her relationship with Elon Musk. It seems like most people don't stay super close to him or last very long in his circles. He has sort of a personality that you kind of have to manage, it seems like. But she's been able to do it for decades at this point. What makes Shotwell different?
She has a very unique relationship with Musk, that's for sure. She's very clear about who the boss is ultimately, and that's Musk. And like when Musk wants to do something or go in a direction at SpaceX, I mean, that carries weight, you know what I mean? And like generally, that's where the company goes. And I think Shotwell understands that. She has also been really fierce and really loyal to Musk, including in really tense moments involving Musk and SpaceX.
One tense moment was in 2022 when allegations emerged that Musk harassed a flight attendant. Some SpaceX employees started raising concerns.
Musk has called these allegations untrue, but inside the company, employees were upset. Some of them posted this internal letter, protesting what they saw as the company's failure to take harassment allegations seriously. And Shotwell intervened. She took issue with the letter. She defended Musk. She said she didn't believe the allegations based on that sort of history together. some of the people that were involved in putting this protest letter together, were fired.
Shotwell has stayed loyal to Musk as his profile has grown, including on the political stage. Last summer, Musk had a public falling out with President Trump. In response, Musk threatened to decommission a spacecraft called Dragon, which transports astronauts to and from the International Space Station.
So you've got Musk like threat. Folks at NASA are taking note of this, and Shotwell finds a way, sort of behind the scenes, to kind of try to calm everybody down. You know, she assured officials at NASA that the company and agency, you know, would make it through it, would make it through the situation, you know, even as two, you know, one of the world's wealthiest persons and the president are having just this very big public spat.
What word would you use to describe what Shotwell does for Musk?
I think maybe the word I would use is like translator. She knows how to like go through back channels to sort of translate things that her boss is like doing and kind of just assuage people's nerves. Shotwell is the person that they go to when something's going on to understand what Musk is doing or what SpaceX thinks, or she has a ton of credibility that allows her to kind of operate in that manner.
That credibility will become even more important as SpaceX prepares for a possible public offering.
I think Shotwell is likely to play a very important role in the IPO process. I think as SpaceX continues to sort of like consider its options for the potential public offering, like Shotwell is going to be very much like in the middle of that, one way or the other.
What's driving SpaceX to go public? That's next. SpaceX continued to grow, the company resisted going public. Elon Musk has complained before the challenges of running his one public company, Tesla. An IPO would open up the books for SpaceX, which until now has been rather discreet about its finances.
There's been very little over the years about SpaceX like profit and loss, and like we've reported on that at the Wall Street Journal a few times, but like there's a lot more disclosure, investor commentary, presentations. You sort of have to like sell yourself and explain yourself to the public markets, to investors of all stripes, and that like typically SpaceX has done that again kind of behind the scenes in the private markets, and that'll change a little bit if they go public.
Gwynne Shotwell has also publicly expressed reservations. Here she is on CNBC in 2018.
We actually don't talk too much about going public right now.